Rahman Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dahu wa ba'd. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May his peace and blessings be showered upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the one who fought tooth and nail for Islam to get to every corner of the world. We request Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow unto him his full blessings and mercy, and to whoever is to follow his footsteps until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. Now, I want to dedicate today's session to discussing purpose of marriage. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Now, I would like to prepare my audience with our social reality today. When you check the mainstream media, when you check the sad stories people go through, different realities rooted from different backgrounds, different cultures, there is a lot against marriage. Young girls find no peace in marriage, and you will find the same young girls finding felicity and peace in doing what married people do even outside marriage. The same applies with men. Men run away from marriage because marriage has this whole responsibilities thing, commitment, and they still find interest into behaving like married people because of what they believe marriage is. Now, it is a reality we are having today, and because of that reality, many people are running away from marriage considering what other people have painted this whole picture of marriage. And of course, when someone is having a sad story of marriage, those are the people that will go for news, because it is news not to be happy in marriage, but it is normal when everything is okay in marriage. Now, because the news is portraying this whole sad reality, not like every man does that, but it doesn't mean that every woman who is in marriage is going through some hard story. And this is why Islam has it as an open door for those in marriage to make sure you at least inspire those who are not in marriage. Not giving out this picture that is built on falsehood, but at least trying to inspire them that it is a social upbringing, something to do with the family setup. Two adults, if they think of being together, it has to be with a family setup. More so if you're Muslims, it's an Islamic family setup. So that's why I wanted us to have this session. What do you consider as the purpose of marriage? Because very many people, even when they are in marriage, they don't even have the purpose as to why they are in marriage. Is it possible or not? Some of your decisions to marriage are built onto stuff that are not realistic, and in the long run, you're going to definitely find hard life in marriage because of the foundation. Now, who told you that you deserve a microphone to speak for marriage people, even with the reality that you were unserious prior to that? And now you think you deserve a microphone to represent those who are in marriage. Because Islam now came to give a purpose of marriage for the young Muslims, even old Muslims, that would find sense in marriage, to understand why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even with the realities that happen to be sad with some other people in marriage, why is it still a point for someone to prioritize marriage? Now, I would like to only use one verse to get neyo. It is narrated authentically in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Rum, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Now, that's why I am a student of the Quran tafsir, because when you find one verse where Allah is trying to explain something, find time to investigate and learn. What did Allah want you to understand? Al-Maqsood. What did Allah want you to understand from the context as you memorize it. It is the one reason as to why when SHEIKH was like, when you get married, it's like you've completed half of your deen. Many of you have that tradition, but you don't even understand what it is. The Prophet was like, when you get married, you have completed half of your deen. It has nothing to do with only prayers. Of course, that is something, it's just a bit of it. But it's because when you're in position to be with your fellow human being of the opposite gender, man or maybe woman, female or male, that whole combination is just full of acts of worship. To stay with a wife for 20 years, not even a slap. Now it takes Jannah for you as a reward. It's not because you're just going through smoothness, there are no ups and downs. So the Prophet was like, when you check the patience between the married couple, the patience a wife practices onto the husband, the patience a husband practices onto the wife, that is almost half of the deen. The tolerance now, the tolerance you practice with your wife for 20, 30 years, that is why Prophet was like, it's half of your deen. So you're in position to get rewards because of the presence of the wife. Had it not been that presence, maybe you would not be in position to grab those rewards. But of course, but there is also rewards into loving them, just caring for them. Even when whoever you're taking good care of, they are not grateful, but there are rewards, obviously. This is where I get confidence to be like, move ku janaza abantu just because you're married. That entitlement is not given to you by Allah. When you recite a tradition where the Prophet is like, the Jannah of the wife is under your feet, what does that even mean? What does that mean? How many of husbands have sat down to just analyze why the Prophet was like, the Jannah of the wife is under you as a husband? It doesn't basically mean that you're supposed to order and she does. You're thinking in that way because you're a man and you're a leader, masculine in the way, you're losing the point. It is a motivation of this lady just because you're going to be her leader, so she needs to prioritize at least making sure she's not opposing you directly as a leader to clash. So the only way you're going to get to that is when you appreciate all these authentic traditions. Neno sanga abafumbo nga buli omala engeza munne. Tojja kuyingira jana, ojja kuyingira jana. Lwaki ombuuza ne onyana okwonya lwaki ojja kuyingira jana? Aren't you aware that even Aisha radhiyallahu anha at one point provoked the Prophet with these statements? Nabbi wano gosinga okwagala. And then Aisha was like, Ya Rasulallah, are you the Prophet that people respect? Really? Because of something that just happened between the co-wife and the Prophet. Of course, it's a long story, we don't have time, but the statement Aisha was like, and then Prophet was like, okay, was just smiling and handled it as a Prophet, definitely. At times, your wife might be in position to say something they don't mean, but something they feel. And when they are saying something they feel, they are not even aware of what they have said. Naachi kugambye. Ayinza okuba kugambye nti musajja gwe wallahi oli kisiraani mu bulamu bwange kubanga badde anyiize kya feelings naye aba takisussizaamuko. Ekisiraani okutomera aba takisussizaamu. Ayinza kugamba ki for example? Nejjusa n'akomaawo. Nejjusa kituufu. Musajja gwe nejjusa n'ayingira ekisenge. Now as a man, n'otandika okulowooza mukyala yejjusa amanyiira, omukyala yejjusa amanyiira, yejjusa atya gwe nawasa ne muwa n'amahale weerabidde nti abadde anyiizaawo muweemu ennaku ezi bbiri. The same nejjusa is going to be like, I can't live without you. Now you are trained to appreciate like that. Live the paradises of people. the fact that you're in marriage, that alone is a platform for everyone to enter paradise. Allah tasobola bayingiza muliro. People who are morally upright, abayingira obufumbo. You're practicing patience, you're practicing tolerance. Mbumu abayingize. Aleka abaki? Abali mukolo obwononefu. Of course, there are problems within married people. Tewali wabuli smart. But Allah is not going to prioritize that. Because it gets to a level nti newona abo ofudde with your spouse. Nga mwawukanye. Or maybe mufudde. Je kiri nti Allah jakuwa khiyar. Akubuuze omusajja gwe walina mu dunia awo kyamwetaaga wano oba tukukyusizeemu. Ogambe nti ayi Allah naguma namala. Bampeeyo omusajja ow'omujja nange watusuubiza bamumpeeyo. Malayika zikugambe nti mukyala gwe Allah amulongoosezza taliimu ffutwa taliimu bukodo obwo. Then ogambe nti okay bamumpe wabanga bamukyusizza bamumpe. But with that discussion. Now why am I saying all this? That is the reality of marriage. When you see someone on television trying to portray something, abasajja babi, abakyala babi, it is okay. Maybe it's their experience. Since when did we start building all these principles onto those bad experiences? So you're not even bothered atuuka atyo kubanga ina information ingeyo to give out atutagazani no society. There is no society that is going to be successful when marriage is attacked. Check out the single parenting story now. Our society appreciated this whole battle to marriage. How many innocent young kids are victims of that? Because you don't even value marriage. Islam designs, the Islamic wisdom brings marriage in a way, chikusinga no bunene. You only get to marriage, but it's not all about you. Chikusukira ddala. This is the one verse I want us to draw this lecture to. Allah was like, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Surah Ar-Rum. Wa min ayatihi an khalaqa lakum min anfusikum azwaja. This is the same verse you recite on your day of wedding. You don't even know the meaning. Allah is like, wa min ayatihi. If you want to know the signs of Allah, an khalaqa lakum min anfusikum azwaja. Allah was in position to create your spouses, male or maybe female, min anfusikum, from within your own caliber, human beings. And some scholars were like, the reason as to why Allah never created our spouses from any other style or maybe dimension of creation was because a human being finds it easy to relate with someone who is in the same class with them. It would have been possible to get a spouse who is a jinn. Natonda basajja nga majinni nga abakyala muli bantu. But of course we are human beings, we wouldn't connect. So as far as Allah is concerned, the fact that you have a lady who is a human being as you are, that is a creation of Allah. And it's one of the signs that denote that Allah is there. Out of His mercy. Yatutonda nga fenna tuli bantu because He wanted us to check the compatibility. It would be easy for you to understand your fellow human being kubanga mwetegera kyekimu. Now if you're a man, it's from this verse where you're going to understand that your wife as a woman, all they are your fellow human beings. They are designed like that as human beings for you to get attracted to them because they are your fellow human beings. But understand that maybe the reasoning might not be the same. Maybe the understanding might not be the same because they are women in that case. So even with those differences, you're designed to appreciate that the fact they are human beings, what way bibagate, really basic. You overlook the differences and you get to what puts you together. Min anfusikum azwaja. The one reason was litaskunu ilayha. Marriage has never been something people get into just because they want to get off their lust. The number one purpose Allah prioritizes into people getting in marriage, litaskunu ilayha, to make sure any spouse, husband or wife, is a source of tranquility peace to their partners. Ani yakugamba nti omukyala yalina okubanga akuwa emirembe gwe wekka? And you're reciting this verse. Buli muntu asikazza wuwe olinga agamba nti Katonda musajja. N'omukyala kyekimu. Abasajja tebatuwa mirembe. What does that mean? Allah only gave one purpose to marriage. You get married because you need to find peace within someone you're in marriage with. Now, with that purpose, it's going to guide you in the journey of getting whoever you would like to make husbands. To ask relevant questions. Are they really going to be peaceful to you? And then Allah was like, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. After prioritizing peace, it's Allah that puts love and mercy between the two. Singa prophet akyali mulamu, singa adaga n'omulembe guno. Who told you, eh? Okay. Munansonyiwa naye kambasabule. Since when did you start to think that love is made by you? Allah is like trying to inform you, you don't have anything to do with love. There is a reason as to why Allah is Al-Wadud, Al-Ghaffar, Dhur Rahma. Dhur Rahma basically means Sahibur Rahma. He's the owner of mercy. What Allah does, after finding your fellow match this side who is going to give you peace, or maybe after finding the man who is going to give you peace, leave the love thing and mercy thing to Allah, He's going to definitely put love between you. You know what that means? It basically means when you prioritize love to decide whether someone is going to be your wife or maybe someone is going to be your husband, love is not something made by you. Imagine having a wife or maybe having a husband who you love a lot, but they don't relate with your parents. They don't relate with your brothers and maybe sisters. Maybe they are poor when it comes to communication. They are disrespectful, even when they love you, but they disrespect you. Now, definitely it's not going to last, because at the 11th hour, you're going to be like, even when you love me, but you don't respect my father, now there is no peace there. Many married people are in marriage because of lust. Kati namwe mulunze tubagambe. The reason as to why you're finding each one of you attracted, because you're adults. You're a man and she's a woman. You're biologically okay. Definitely when she blinks like this, it is attracting you because you're a normal man. So you're basically attracted to her because she's a woman, period. You exceed that. That's why Allah is like, litaskunu ilayha. You don't want to start a family when you don't have that peace aspect in it. How many married people have prioritized that peace when you're getting married with looks? Maybe someone who is going to give you peace is not a brown lady. Wawasa buwasa. Akuzalidde abaana ab'olugezigezi bakumanyiira. The same kids bagenda kukuba ng'okaddiye. Now where is peace there? Allah is just simple. Litaskunu ilayha. Because of this generation, you're losing it. Mutuuka n'okubanga muyingizaamu eddiini, being manipulated by religion. Okwegumya okw'eddiini, you're like, kasita ndaba, things happen. I don't want to, kasita I love this guy, I love this lady. Things happen, people change, sigwa asose. Like, wobanga sigwa asose, do you know what that means? It basically means, yene yasooka yali ayagala omulabireko. You too unserious to 11, tonna mulabirako. Ate sigwa asemba, it basically means, neonaabo osazeewo okutomera. Sigwa agenda osooka osemba okutomera. Some other people are going to okutomera. The same statement you're using, okuyingira obufumbo bw'ettabbo. Now Islam is like nedda. If you want to get into marriage, prioritize. Are you really going to get peace from whoever you're graduating to that position? Mwenna bw'owulira abali ku TV, abali ku social media, basajja twagala mirembe. What does that mean? Mirembe ki gye mwagala? Now a young girl here is too obsessed with abasajja baagala emirembe. Instead of focusing on your man, mirembe ki egimukolera? And who told you that fenna emirembe gyaffe gye gimu? Maybe emirembe gyange mirala nnyo. Now if my wife was the unserious type, yandibadde ate aleeta emirembe gy'abantu abalala ayagala nno okuginkuba, naye nga nange nina egiki egyange. Mukazi wo takimanyi, tamanyanga nako emyaka 5 gye mumaze position kyekuweesa emirembe. Allah abe kubanga yamuwa iri mu ngeeyo, wandibadde oguma n'okuguma nga nti okay, my wife wadde nga ntagaza naye wano yategeera mpaawo emiki emirembe. The same applies with you. Are you sure this man of yours is going to be a piece of tranquility to you? Tochimanyi kyokka mulina date y'embaga. You're also waiting mbubigane odduke ofune akazindaalo. Please mbeewaza abaana abawala mutomera mwagala okutomera. Keep quiet. Go just tuula wansi. We shall refer to you when we need reality. Tukuwa akazindaalo ogenda tugamba amazima, the mistakes you made and what happened after. Are you getting the point now? Allah yeye akivaamu dda n'akibalekera litaskunu ilaiha. Now everyone is rushing ku kintu ky'atalina. The reason as to why you're not in position to create love within your own self, kubanga si gwayina omukwano ogwo. You're just subjected to it. Allah does the magic. He puts love and connection ku bantu baba akoze eki baba asiimye. What you do as a human being is just kubeera na muntu just goyagadde akulabikidde bulungi. Kate biological otandise obwagazi oyo yasimanya biki mpulira omwana ono omwagala kubanga oli musajja sukka waawo. You don't want to get married to someone just because akuchamudde sexually. Marriage is beyond that. Agenda beera mulamu wa baganda bo, agenda beera muwala wa taatawo, muwala wa maamawo, agenda zaala abaana, kikusussa olwo. That's a big society. Okuzimbirwa just ku kantu akaki? Kantu akatono. Are you understanding the approach of Islam now? Now the purpose of marriage, just for starters, is to make sure oyina wofunire emirembe. Byonna bibeerewo. I'm not saying that it is obvious kati mbwe emirembe girina okubeerawo obviously nga muyingidde obufumbo, but I'm trying to say ask relevant questions from the start to make sure these people are basically going to give you a peace of mind. If at all you do that from the start, thank you very much. So even when turbulences happen, ups, they are there in marriage, at least you know the red line of your spouse. Into one just sokawo. Agenda kumpe emiki emirembe. The whole personality differences. Waliwo abantu emirembe gyabwe kwogera. True or false? Kwogera. Ye mukyala wo nno tonnamanyi. When she's not fine, talking is a solution. You know better owulirize. Now if you understand it, your wife is that talking type. Tiwabanga atabuseemu ye ayagala kwogera ate owulirize. Mweronda mwemanyi kanonda omwogezi wange. As you enter in marriage, let her talk. Ayogere. Ovewo ngomaze okukola ki? Okuwulira, because you knew that. The same applies with your husband. Maybe ekimuwa emirembe kwogera naye. Atandika okwogera ovaawo. Ayogera, tomukyala tampa miki? Tampa mirembe. Now, bw'okozesanga statement ngeyo nti omukyala tampa mirembe, tekitumala. Mirembe kiggwe gy'oyita emirembe. Nekyoyita emirembe kiyinza okubanga kulyaza amaanyi. True or false? Allah tugeseza n'omulembe guno. This whole gender roles story. Nemutuuka ne ku situation nga you're getting into marriage, but you're having discussions of gender roles. Abantu bagenda otomera omulembe guno. Which is okay. A young girl here, our fellow African here, you're being influenced by the marriage olw'okuba wasoma akatabo of a Syrian trying to demonstrate how the Syrians treat their wives in their own society and culture. You're too unserious to a level until your husband is a mugisu. Wow, no? Tannabana kusoma katabo k'Abasiri yako. Ovuddeyo nti emirembe gyange, I want a washing machine. Bao yakafuluman. University. I want a washing machine. I want a car for transport. I want a mahare, 2 million. Olinda kyo kumuvira. Just walk away. It takes a lot for someone to understand kino kyensomye walala. Kiyinza obutakitinga wano. Do you know what happens in Saudi Arabia for married people? Before you even marry a girl, oteekeddwa okuba n'entambula. Agenda kutambula atya? Does it apply here? Bameka abaziyina wano. Kati nga tubuukira society eyo. Borders zaffe zijja tubeererawo wasa. Are you saying the difference now? Bw'olabanga firimu ez'Amerika, better too clever to understand that is a society and we also have a society. Wallahi, there is also a society rooted from the theory side, the Sharia perspective, because some scholars gave in their way opinions rooted from their cultures and society. Ojja kulaba abamanyi abamu nga bagamba nti don't marry nga toyina ssente za mukozi. Mukyala wo sekati yakisomye. Akikusomesezza. Wallahi qala al-ulama titompasa nga toyina ssente za mukozi. Olinze kyo okumusomesa omugambe nti okay, ani waye yayogedde oyo. Onaamalako ddine room zebbiri n'omukozi nga waali ku kakadde k'oyingiza. Now if this wife of yours is not understanding that, lodayo omuntu omulala nawe obudde butono. Get someone else agenda okitegeera, mutandike family yo 2 double rooms, mutandike amaka gammwe. Allah bw'aggulawo maaso eyo alhamdulillah ng'ofuna omukozi ng'obusobozi bukola ki? Weebuli. Are you understanding the approach now? That is the guidance of Islam. Litaskunu ilayha. You seek for peace as you get married. Now, if you're still in battles, ez'abaana abato, even when you're trying to connect with someone, olemerako biki? Baana kwenonoleza bizibu. Allah ali mukulaga. Banayo toyagala kutandika bufumbo. Na muwala atali understanding. Do you know what a wife who is not understanding means? Do you know what it means? Do you know what it means to have a wife ng'ekibagatta kyokka biology? Do you know what it means nga ne mukazi wo yennyini tomwesiga ntegeera ye just kumukwasa kazindalo mu interview nga kabenje kabadde wali noweeraliikirira omukyala bannaye kafulumyemu eggambo wana trendingire tuswale. Do you know what it means? Doesn't that just tekikutuma kumanya nti litaskunu ilaiha? You need to train your wife omuteekemu that understanding tuwabanga agenda beera omukyala owa politician as you ateekeddwa okubanga ali outspoken ng'ali confident mukko kuba bayinza mu interviewing as your wife. Omanye tabbu eriwo omukyala okuswaza nte muwebaka n'emmuliri ofune ddi biology oyo onyumiro ddi biology nga wano tagali this reality yokka ekumalako. Temwagala birowoozaako ebyo, temwagala kulowooza kubiba kyankalanya. Do you know what it means your husband okubanga ekibagatta kyokka sente? You can't even just basically discuss omwana wa maasomeddewa kubanga okimanyi baawo tategeera naye sente azirina. Oyogera birala naye ayogera birala kubanga osomye. I'm talking to people who are academicians now. Money is not everything. Marriage is beyond that. I know kubanga azirina, which is okay. Naye nentegeera eri basic. Ekyo kyokka ekyokubanga mwenna muli mu kibuga waneeno. It is a sign of compatibility. What will happen? Do you know what it means to throw a joke? Nga mbutuufu munna ateekeddwa okubanga agitegeera. N'agamba omumanyira. Kisoboka wali kisoboka? Kisoboka. Byebyo. Notandika kwewoza kuba naye it was just a joke. Nkimanyi bakyala mmwe we mutyo. Mutumanyira mu nzungu zammwe. Bawo yakugamba ekyo. Litaskunu ilaiha. Oyagala okubanga ebizibu ebyo bimalanga kubanga okimanyi nti at least waliwo emirembe gy'ogenda okufuna. Omuntu gw'oyogera naye ng'ayina atuwa okutegeera nti when my husband is down, waba ayogedde nange agenda kubanga kakkana. Wallahi nkirayira Allah, because of people not understanding these meanings of the tradition, there are few husbands who prioritize talking to their wives. Mbawaayiriza kubanga okimanyi ekyamukuwasiza amagezi gasemba. Maybe the wife doesn't even have the art. Omuntu ali mu kuyita mu mbeera bweti bamukwata batya kubanga munna science. Now, do you think everyone is good at communicating? Do you know what it takes omuntu okubanga alina ekizibu kyakunyumiza nga kya bussiru naye nga ate akaaba nga ate olina obbeera to receive omubudaabude tibana it is okay, things happen nga bw'ogezaako ate omumujerega immediately awo kigenda kutagala. Litaskunu Allah just statement nyangu litaskunu ilaiha akutumye to be effective communicators in marriage because you're going to need that effective communication. Even with the reality you're in two different dimensions. Omukyala ali emotional ate gwe oli logical. Oleeta amagezi go nnyo tetugenda kukkiriza omubuutikire n'amagezi go naye tetugenda kumukkiriza akubuutikire with your emotions. The moment you get too much emotional otuswaza, the moment you get too much logical otuswaza, isn't that enough to make you know nti obufumbo si bw'abaana bato? Womanya nti okay, as a husband my wife is now speaking as a responsible mother. Wiki omwezi mulamba fees zikubuzeeko. Mukyala wo si kuba nti takwagala naye ekyobwamaama kimutabukidde ajja ayingirawo n'akugamba bba wange nga sikutegeera toyagala baana bo. Atandise toyagala baana ki? Olw'okuba tobaagala wallahi mwezi mulamba batudde ewaka. Nkizudde nti musajja gwe by'osomesa kati ng'ali kunze by'osomesa si byokola ki? Ogenda okukeberakebera mu nsawo nga mutuufu toyina ki? Toyina ssente. Oyina kukitegeera butegeeze nti kati ayogedde nga maama alumirirwa abaana be. Ayinza okuba tategeeza nti toyagala baki? Baana bo. Awo ng'osirikawo ng'ofuna kyayi n'entangawuzi nga weenywera nga weebaka. Obufumbo bulina okutambula mu maaso temubuggala mu bintu bya kito. Tomukuba na mukuba obudde tulina butono. Waliyo n'enkya mujja kuseka. Olaba obufumbo bugenda okutambula when you get that approach. Naye bw'ogenda okumanya nti bbawo agenda kukubuuza why are you spending an hour making up? Justify. Omusajja ali mu mmotoka akulinze an hour mutandise mwenna okukola ki? Okwambala. N'akulinda for 1 hour akubuuza why are you? Lwaki bannange? Bw'onaamutegeera nti ali logical okumumatiza obumatizi nti essaawa ennamba gye weetaaga ku musajja ategeera tojja kumalako ng'otandika kukyusa ogamba nti omusajja nno ali logical ajja kumpita omussiru ng'otandika kwetereeza tuwe tuba tunaatambula ntegeeza 2 days before nze nzuukuke mangu nkulekeo nga weebase neetereeze tugende okugenda nga tukola tutya tusimbula obufumbo buba tebutambudde. Kati example ndikuuza mmwe wano sunna y'abakyala mwakkanya nti kulwawo you and keeping time muli eno ne sunna yammwe kimusinga okuyombera abakyala tebakuuma kiki? Tebakuuma budde. Obufumbo ne butagalira okwo temukuuma budde mukuma budde temukuuma budde temukuuma budde. Muyina ebizibu ebibagatta bingi okusinga ebibawudde ebyo. Omukyala bw'akitegeera nga akwangwiza nga kiyita naawe nga bw'omutegedde n'otaggala bufumbo obulamu ne bukola butya? Litaskunu ilaiha. Conflict management now. Babatendekera wammwe abatanaba kuyingira bufumbo mugenda managinga butya ebizibu byammwe. Kosi kyeyo gye mukisoma waneeno. Even when you human resource bakutendeka ku managinga bantu ba ku mirimu. Do you know what it means okubanga munno I mean your husband or maybe your wife ng'akunyiizizza to the bone naye nga togenda kwebaka mu ddiiro ng'ogenda kwebaka ku buliri naye. Now that is not for young girls and young boys. That is for mature minds. That is a skill that you're going to be taught by marriage. Even when you've got out of a very hot discussion, you've deferred. Omukyala ayinza n'okukuvuma nga mukaayana. Discussion negoyinga n'akubba eggambo nti ogira okubeera malaaya ku mulimu naye nga bayita bamalaaya bakamaabo n'owulira nga omwana ono oba weetaaga awo n'amagezi ge wekagamba oba mutuge oba mukube sheitani naye ebangawo oba mukole ki ya rabbi naye nga obufumu bugamba ati leka naawe sirikawo genda mu kisenge mwebake bw'oba onaasalawo okumugoba tosalawo ng'okyali musunguwavu. Isn't that sensitivity? Because the purpose of marriage is getting peace. So as you plan to get to marriage, because please prioritize being a peace giver to your partner. Now I understand abantu batwesibako nga bagamba nti ffe ababasomesezza nga mwogera bye twabasomesezza. As I'm saying be a peace giver, I'm not training you as a wife okunonooze okutandika okukanyuga bbaawe amasumali wallahi bagambeko tampa mirembe. I'm speaking to you. Just be a peace giver, and as a husband you're not a lady for a reason. Focus on your problems. You're a man. Make sure you're a peace giver to her by understanding your levels of patience, your levels of tolerance, just committing to her. Even when you're not around, ogenda mu safari nga mwasembyeyo nga muyomba naye ng'enkeera ogenda mu safari, the Islamic guidance is you're going to still leave upkeep for her. Now that is commitment. Before you give a boy a chance to be a husband, focus on that. Olonzo omusajja as a man ayingidde obufumbo togenda kulya for 1 week kubanga mwayombi. Ate ffe tukulaba baawo sente azirina naye mwana muto tewakibuuza kyo. Wrong questions that I got married to you because I love you. That is not justified. Love ejja luvannyuma. Tomanyi mukwano guli genuine nga mukwano gwa bba na mukyala after marriage. Because now you have real reasons for each one to love each other. Naye mwe abakyatagala bano ne dating, you love each other because you have sexual desires. Buli omu yesunga biology. Now you have a reason to love each other. Bw'omala okuyingira obufumbo, that's when you're going to know that you have get past to biology forever. Now other fields also matter. Ayogera atya, relating atya n'abantu, connecting atya n'abantu, like, do you know what it means okubanga mukyalawo abaana bo ababaganda bo bamudduka? Do you know what it means? And you're like, I'm peaceful in my marriage in that angle kubanga ffe alhamdulillah tata waffe tatwagala, mama waffe tatwagala, we just love ourselves, alhamdulillah. There is no peace there. In the long run mwabagenda ba upcoming kwawukana, which is okay, mulina okwawukana, because marriage goes beyond that. Forces zino zokka zokka, getting into marriage nga sezaalawo takwagala. Do you know what it means? Katolo, this young boy of yours for your husband akugamba, my wife, don't worry, for us we love each other till life separates us. I know my father has issues, atandika. I know my father has issues and my mother has issues. Actually, even my sisters and brothers tebakwagala, but they don't care. I love you for myself. Nakuwasa nakutwala oseka, not knowing in after 20 years as you give birth waliwo jjajja in play ajja kwetaaga okulaba ku bazzukulu ate yegwe gwe baasigula. Create peaceful environments for your marriages, and that is the guidance of Islam. That's why Allah was like, inna fi dhalika. After Allah putting love between the two, that connection between the two, actually some scholars were like, the step of Allah putting love between the two of you is the fact that you have desires, just for starters. Now those desires are making you get attracted to each other, because like Paul's at physics like repel, and like Paul's I told him see. So unlike ngamu connecting, that is the first step. The other step is, even with the difference in the background, but you still find some bit of being merciful ku muntu ono, and just loving them from there. muina n'abaana babagasse, muina connection experiences bibagatta, families zibagatta, you're bringing two families together. Now that is a project that is very much sensitive. And Allah was like, inna fi dhalika. If you're clever enough, in only that we've explained, la ayatin liqawmi yatafakkarun. It's enough to be a sign to a group of people that use their brains. Now that is the guidance of Islam. The purpose of our marriage in Islam is built onto peace. On either sides. As a wife, prioritize a man who gives you peace. Hatonafuna musajja ategedde bujulizi bubi. Akumaleke emirembe n'omukwano wagukuwa. You have a camera in the house, even in the bedroom and the bathroom. We are trying to ask your husband, why are you putting all these cameras inside everywhere? The husband is like, I'm the protector because the Prophet told me I am a protector. Akumaze. In your car, there is a tracker. The husband must be knowing everywhere you're going. But they love you. That's why they are doing that. Otandise okulaba nti obulamu bufunze musinti oli muntu mubi n'ekisusse. Omusajja n'akugamba nti before you get out, wallahi, even when you're going to your parents, make sure you don't go if I say no. Now you request as a wife, please, it is 5 years, I've not seen my mother. Kuba mwogera. I've not seen my father. I want to just go and spend a weekend. The man is like, no, because I am a man, don't he? Nasoma na hadisi yesembesa obukyamu. Even the Prophet told us that even when what? Even when your father dies, you need to ask a permission from the... I think we need to make another halaka. Kuba abantu abasomye ebintu bino tuwulira obulumi nga mubikozesa ng'obujulizi mu mbeera etali nnungi. Tugamba nti banayi nabbi bw'azuukira nawulira ng'okyogera ekyo. Does it make sense to you? Your father has died and now you need a permission of someone who is not even your brother. Gwe mwayombye naye eggulo akukkirize osooka okola otya? You're calling to ask for permission, he's not picking up. You're not supposed to go because your marriage is also at stake. But you love each other amidst that. Does it add up? Of course, with time the love is going to decrease. Even when they become fathers to your kids, innocent kids, wakamanya nti omusajja mukodo ku baana be. Naye akwagala. Yeah, they love you, they are too loving. Ne birthday ajijjukira. Naye mukodo kubaki? Ku baana be. Are you going to continue loving them? That's why scholars were like, even in analyzing love, there are kinds and steps. Scholars were like, if you find out that the love is just increasing and you're finding reasons to keep you together, nemuyita mutagali ya mbufumbo for years, naye nga temwawukanye, that is a sign that Allah is actually putting that strong bond between you. Bw'olaba nganga every now and then, the longer you stay in marriage, love omukwano gugenda gukkirira. Now Allah is doing what he does best. Yagaba omukwano, kyali mukola ali mukola ki? Ali mugojjawo. Kabaleme kuzuukuka mangu mumanye buzibu buvaawa. Muteekewo those reasons to make sure that love now keeps on growing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that purpose in our marriages. Kubanga buli muntu yandibadde ayagala okufuna omusajja amuwe emirembe n'omukyala amuwe emiki amuwe emirembe. You've not heard me bringing any examples. Ekinjagala nkibajjukize nti omukyala akuwe emirembe, ye mukyala akufukaamirira, omusajja akuwe emirembe, ye musajja awuliriza buli kimu ky'ogambye. I can't go to those specifics kuba sibamanyi mwenna ate siri nabbi. Ettabbu njikulekedde siri mu bufumbo bwo. Find ways of giving peace to your wife. Nze mukazi wo simumanyi nga ggwe. Maybe her peace is kumwesonyiwa nga anyize. Ate ggwe firimu z'olabye za kumuhaginga nga anyize. Okola ekintu ekinaakukyaya tonnamanya. Maybe ekiwa bbaawe emirembe bw'abanga anyize kumuviira. Ate ggwe bakugambye someone told you that when someone is upset, tovaawo sigala obusigazi, continue asking what's the problem, banakuba oluyi. Understand. Emirembe jani jamunno. Awo no waliwo tagali nyingi, and I'm not someone who believes into giving those examples. Olaba wenjogera example ngekolera nze naye nga tekolera gwe. Nkono nina omukyala sinnamanya. Olaba wendeta example ngekolera gwe naye nga ate nkwononera omusajja nga tonakola ki tonnamanya. So everyone find ways of making sure you're a peace giver to your spouse. Ate no waliwo ebyalaganga nti abantu beewa emirembe mabegakaawo ng'oku okukola ki waliwo for example nammwe mulinga abatali bafirika bannange, like for example from the culture omukyala okubugumiriza ku mazzi ag'okulaaba. Allah weyagadde basajja mmwe, like omukyala n'abuguma erizzi n'akola ki n'akuwa nga gye mirembe gyo kijali mirembe egyo kati shawa zino ezayingirawo ne wuome ziri mu biyigo newa kigambe mukyala wo obanga kyekyo ate kimugambe nga tonnawa kumuwasa. Mugambe mukyala wange am too traditional. I know I have a shower, I know I have what? I have a warmer in the bathroom, but I just like that water in the kettle locally. Omukyala ono ayingira ofumbo nga akimanyi nti katagalire mu sigiri myaka gyonna. Emmere y'enku. Emmere y'enku enkolera. Wallahi, waliwo ne kano. Some people are unserious because of that unseriousness. Kabatagale mu bufumbo bwabwe. Some men are bad. Some men are bad. Okimanyi nti waliwo omusajja munnaffe in Ramadan nga a wife aina okuzuukuka ku ssaawa 6 kubanga agenda kulya ettooke kuddaako afumba akatooka akawaate akafumbe kuba talya mmere esuzeewo, but you love each other, but it is happening. Omukyala for the whole month 29 days 6 mpaka ngoma z'okulya 6 mpaka ate waliwo ne futaali wali eri. Now that is a wife for someone. Tobanga woli waneno tuwe ku bujulizi. Those men are there. Naye tugamba nti nedda you're not a peace giver naawe.